Welcome to today's webinar on the new Certified in Public Health Dashboard and Report on the ASPPH Data Center portal. My name is Allison Foster, the President of the National Board of Public Health Examiners, and I'm joined today by my colleagues Christine Pleppies and Emily Burke. Today we will provide information on the Cph dataset, review ASPPH Data Center website access and navigation, the Cph Dashboard report use and analysis, and present a case study from the University of South Florida College of Public Health. As we go through the webinar, you may submit questions by typing them in the comment box in the GoToMeeting section of your screen. We will answer these questions at the end of the presentation, answering as many questions as time will allow. In addition, we will post a recording of the webinar on the Data Center portal. Technology is great when it works. However, if at any time you are disconnected from the webinar, please attempt to log back on. ASPPH staff will troubleshoot any problems, and if reconnection is not possible after 5 minutes, we will send an email with information regarding next steps. The CPH is the mark of a public health professional. It is a way to demonstrate knowledge of key public health sciences and distinguish oneself by showing employers that one can meet and maintain a national standard in public health through continuing education, focused on emerging and established public health issues. The National Board of Public Health Examiners was established in September of 2005, and the first test was administered in 2008. Next year will mark 10 years of test taking, and with it, we want to give CPHR-accredited schools and programs the ability to analyze the data in order to track trends in public health credentialing, influence curricula changes, and make workforce predictions. Partnering with the ASPPH Data Center, we've accomplished this. Christine, the Director of Data Analytics at ASPPH, is going to tell us more.
Thanks, Allison. The ASPPH Data Center was created in 1974 to implement an annual data collection system. The Data Center has grown considerably since its creation, and in recent years has made great strides using the latest technology for data collection and analytics. One major stride was achieved in September when we launched the new ASPPH Data Center portal. This portal brings multiple academic public health data resources under one password-protected site. Specifically, ASPPH members now have access to ASPPH annual data, SOFA's admissions data, and National Board of Public Health Examiners CPH trends and performance data. The CPH dataset was launched on the portal a few weeks ago and has been made available to all CPH-accredited schools and programs of public health. With the addition of this data set, it is now a good time to talk about data security. ASPPH collects and warehouses several confidential data sets, including CPH data. This data set is considered confidential because it identifies test takers by name, meaning you can log in and see the test takers and their scores for your institution. Because of this, access has only been granted to ASPPH school and program leaders, ASPPH member data administrators, and non-ASPPH member data users, as identified and improved by Allison. If you have any questions about user access or data security, please send us an email at data@aspph.org. And with that, I will now turn the webinar over to Emily to show us the new Cph dashboard and report.
Thanks, Christine. And right now, I am taking us over to the ASPPH Data Center portal, which you can access by typing data.aspph.org into your web browser. Right now, I'm logged in as a data administrator from the Association of Schools and Programs of Public Health. Before getting started with our data analysis, I'd like to point out the Support tab. This provides users with user manuals, instructions and data definitions, webinars and videos, FAQs, and data center contact information. This webinar is being recorded and will be uploaded here as well. In order to access the CPH dashboard and report, you will click on the CPH icon found on your homepage. You are brought to a page that provides information about the data set. As of right now, the CPH trends and score data are all that you see here, but you may see additional data sets in the future. You will click on the icon and now have the option of navigating to the Cph score report or the Cph Examinee trends dashboard. Reports allow users to export data to Excel for one-off analyses, and dashboards allow for interactive analyses using visual displays of data that can be exported to PDF for use in PowerPoints or reports. First, we will take a look at the Cph Examinee Trends Dashboard, which allows users to analyze Cph Examinee trends by demographic and institutional characteristics. What you are looking at is a trend line of total examinees for the past 10 years. If you hover on the line, you will see a box appear with more information. So you'll see that we are currently displaying 975 examinees. You can change the trend line by clicking on Select a Trend Line Measure. You have three options: total, student and alumni, and pass and fail. I'd like to compare student and alumni trends. You can see that as of November 2017, 82.4% of examinees are students. 82.4%, as compared to last year, which is 78.3%. Perhaps you'd like to take a deeper dive and learn a little bit more about these trends. You can do that using the filters on the right-hand side of the screen. You'll notice filters that are specific to the examinees themselves and a filter that is specific to the institutions with which the students are currently enrolled or from which the alumni graduated. I'll go through each one. Gender, citizenship, race, ethnicity, public health expertise, and Cph required. Now, suppose we want to use these filters to get a sense of who's taking the exam. I'm particularly interested in public health expertise, so I am going to filter to only look at those examinees that self-reported epidemiology as their expertise. What we're seeing is pretty significant growth, and then a little bit of a drop-off over the past couple of years. This made me start asking some questions, so I went through each expertise one by one, and what I found was really interesting. What I'm seeing here is that students in a generalist program are drawn to the Cph. And then I thought, well, maybe it's the institutions and not the students. So I cleared out my measure at the top of the visual. And I changed Cph required to yes. And this would seem to support my original idea. But to be sure, I then changed the Cph required filter to no. And it would appear that in comparison to last year, generalist students and alumni are taking the exam regardless of whether or not it is required by their institution, which leads me to believe that the Cph is an excellent supplement to a generalist public health degree. And we happen to know that the generalist degree is the fastest growing degree program out there right now. And you'd have to reference our student dashboards to learn more about that. Now, before I move on, I want to point out a few items. At the top of the dashboard, there is a tab that says Cph Data Definitions. Here, you'll find a document explaining all of the data elements found in this dashboard and the score report. Also, at the bottom of the dashboard is a reminder of what filters you are using. It is pretty easy to come up with some strange numbers if you're not double checking your filter settings. And finally, in the light gray bar beneath the filter settings, you can save your view. This means that the next time you come back, you can pull up all of your filters with one click. And finally, you have the download function. This allows you to export the image. We encourage you to use these images and data, which are not considered confidential here, with appropriate attribution to ASPPH, of course. And with that, I will move us over to the score report, which is confidential as examinees are identified by name. I will do that by clicking on CPH at the top of the screen in my breadcrumbs. And from here, I will click on CPH Score Report. Now, this looks pretty different from what you will see because ASPPH is not an academic institution and does not have examinees. But in order to protect institutional and examinee privacy, I'm not going to show scores. However, you will be able to see the Cph National Average here at the bottom of the screen. You'll see the count of examinees from institutions that do require and do not require the exam. And if you look at the table below, you'll notice that students and alumni from Cph required institutions are scoring a percentage higher than students from non-required institutions. And you may want to take a closer look at the exam domain scores. Like the Trends dashboard, you'll see filters on the right-hand side of the screen. On this report, the filters correspond with the exam itself and the examinee. You have Cph exam year, Cph exam month, Cph exam domain, Cph examinee type, and there are no types here because, again, ASPPH does not have examinees, and Cph exam result. Again, you'll see filters settings at the bottom of the screen. And on this dashboard where we provide tables, you'll hover on the export icon to learn more about downloading. Now, at the top of this report, you'll see 3 tabs. If you click on the examinee score report, you'll be able to view, filter, and export a table of your institution's examinees. The first column will show the examinee's name. The second column will show the number of attempts, and the subsequent columns display the scores by Cph exam domain. Finally, we've included the Cph Data Definitions document here as well. And with that, I'd like to present a brief case study on how one CEPH, Council on Education for Public Health, accredited School of Public Health is using Cph data in order to drive decision-making on campus. In 2014, the University of South Florida College of Public Health organized a group of educators and practitioners in order to revise traditional public health curricula to better meet present-day challenges. This new curriculum would ensure a strong foundation in the history and systems of public health, a clear understanding of traditional core content, as well as the training to apply this knowledge into practice. In an attempt to meet these needs, the College of Public Health began the process to transform the traditional core courses into an integrated, theory-driven core curriculum to meet the training needs of the 21st century public health scholar and practitioner. A team of public health educators and practitioners came together and utilized the intervention mapping process to guide the transformation process. This process allowed them to begin with the broad goals and objectives, which were guided by the overall mission of the college and driven by the new CEPH core competencies, which serve as the foundational competencies for the program. However, as passing the Cph exam was a requirement of the program and the content on that exam reflects critical public health knowledge, attention was also paid to the content outline for the Cph exam. In fact, a crosswalk was made between the CEF competencies and the National Board of Public Health Examiners Cph content outline. This content was used to help in building the individual lesson plans for each class session. As both CEF and ASPPH have made revisions to these criteria, the course content has been crosswalked to ensure that the competencies can be met and that all critical content is covered. Using score reports provided by the ASPPH Data Center, they assess where course content is not hitting the mark, and revisions to curricula have been made as necessary, including greater emphasis on communication and leadership, while still retaining the critical core content that is fundamental to our practice. their practice. This process resulted in the development of 4 sequenced courses: History and Systems of Public Health, Population Assessment 1, delivered in the first semester, and Population Assessment 2 and Translation to Practice, delivered in the second semester. As part of this revision process, the university also affirmed its commitment to the Certified in Public Health exam, requiring all students to take and pass the exam as a requirement of graduation. Ultimately, the College of Public Health believes a stronger curriculum has emerged, one that is better able to meet the 21st century public health needs while ensuring foundational public health knowledge is delivered. Thank you so much for joining us today, and a huge thank you to University of South Florida College of Public Health for providing us with this case study. At this time, we will open the line to questions. Using the GoToWebinar questions window, please type in your questions. All right, and I see some questions coming in. The first question I see here is, will this replace the monthly score reports we've been receiving in PDF form? Allison?
Yes, that's right, Emily. The portal will provide all the information that schools and programs used to receive in the PDF reports. So we will notify everybody, schools and programs, when the monthly results are available by email. And our goal is to have the results out by the 15th of every month, but we'll send out an email letting you know when the next month's scores are available.
And the next question is, how often is the score report updated?
So every month, we receive scores from PSI usually by the first week following the month of exam. And we need about another week to get all the scores into our system. So once a month, we will refresh the information in the portal. So again, you're looking for your December reports or your December information. It will be available by about January 15th or so.
And as you know, the November scores are now available on the portal. The next question is, I noticed there are a lot of other data icons on the homepage. How do I get access to them? And I'm going to toss this one over to Christine.
Thanks, Emily. Yes, ASPPH membership is required to access these academic public health data resources on our data center portal. So if they're grayed out for you, it means you do not have access. If you are interested in seeing more of those, what is available with ASPPH membership, you are welcome to email us at data@asppph.org, and we would give you a tour. And if you're interested in ASPPH membership, please reach out to Allison.
And here I'm seeing a question about test scores for individual examinees, and will that be available? And yes, that will be available. If you're having difficulty accessing that information, please contact data@asppph.org. And we have one more question. And this looks like a question for Allison. This individual would like to learn more about requiring the CPH at that institution. Who should they contact?
So if anybody's interested in learning more about how other institutions have implemented requiring the CPH exam, I'd be happy to talk to them, share what I know. We can definitely put any individual in touch with other schools and programs that have started requiring the CPH exam. And in case anybody is going to be attending the ASPPH annual meeting, we will be hosting a session there on Thursday, March 8th, and we will have a panel of several schools and programs that require the exam, and they're going to share the process, how they made the decision, lessons learned, and give advice for any other schools and programs that are thinking about going in that direction.
Great. And if you come up with any more questions or need assistance, please contact us using the contact information found at the bottom of the Data Center portal or here on the slide. And with that, I will toss it back over to Allison to send us off.
Well, thank you, everybody. We really hope that you make use of the tools. So at any time you need a refresher, you can't find something, please just reach out. We're hoping this is going to be easier to use than the PDF reports. So let us know how we can help you to fully use the tools and to how to improve on it. So thank you very much. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.